When I spoke with some of my friends in the US who are already citizens, a lot of people, they don't know about this EB-5 program.
Is waiting the most difficult part for the application and this whole process? Maybe give us some critical feedback.
They are applying for a family visa. Look at the age of the kids. Behalf of the audience who are interested in looking at this program, move quickly, because we don't know what's going to happen once the current expiry dates materialize, and what will happen next. Will it get renewed? We don't know.
Welcome to EB-5 Unplugged. This is episode number 5. You're catching us in our offices in downtown Dubai, here at the American Legal Center, where we help clients navigate the EB-5 program where you invest for US migration. So one of the feedbacks that we've been given is they would love to know more about our previous clients, testimonials, how was their experience, and where are they headed to next. So it brings me great pleasure to introduce to you today one of our clients that has filed with us and who's happy to share their story, Jay. Jay, thanks again for joining us. There are a lot of families that are either considering this program or wondering how to get information. I know that when you first embarked on finding more about EB-5, there was a lot of noise, there's a lot of information coming to you. So I'm really happy to have you here today so that you can just candidly tell the story about how you've sort of gone about. Let's start from the beginning. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, how long you've been here in Dubai, a little bit about your kids and your motivations on wanting to do this program.
Yeah, first, thank you for having me, Shad, here. It's my pleasure to be part of this program, where I would like to share my experience of working with your exceptionally brilliant team and the kind of information that they have shared with. I'm really blessed to have worked with your team here. Going back to my own profile, I've been in this region since last 25 plus years. My two kids, one is now 23 and the other one is 18 years. It's critically important, I think, for everybody to look at, if they are applying for a family visa, look at the age of the kids. That is critically important in making sure that your investments are optimized. So in my case, I actually, since I've been here since last 25 plus years, and I have my own business here in the region, my kids, actually, one of them, the elder one, was aging out, and it was crucial that I filed the petition on time. First of all, when I started interacting with you, I frankly didn't know anything about EB-5. This was what is called pre-RIA period, where the investments were also, as you know, much less than what it is today. So it's just that, one of my friend actually introduced me to this program. Together, we actually attended your, I think, first call. I got a lot of information. That's how I came to know that there is something called EB-5, with which we could get the green card after obviously waiting for a certain period of time. And I had a lot of questions, doubts, which, I kept on interacting with you to get it clarified. And to me, you were the only point of contact in terms of knowing what this EB-5 program was, and so on.
I should put you on payroll. These are amazing words. Thank you so much. Let's focus on your kids a bit. So with our clients, I would say about 90% of them, they're really doing this for the future benefit of the kids. So as you said, you have two boys. At the time, one was about 18 and one was about 20.
Yeah.
So at the time we filed your application, you mentioned something interesting. You said one was aging out. So you came to find out that if you file your application before your older son turns 21, that the entire family could be included on the application. At the time, did you know that your sons want to study in the US? And maybe you can give us an update since we filed your application, what has happened?
Yes, we were clear, both of them. We wanted them to study in the US. And it was, timing-wise, I think, appropriate, because both of them, by the time the EB-5, at least if it is approved, they're already there or on way close to being there if not through EB-5, or at least through F1 that currently right now that they are working on. So we knew about it, that they would be going there to do their studies. And EB-5, the way the program is, that obviously they would get a benefit on their tuition fees. Of course, timing wise also it matters, because they have to at least spend 1 year in a particular state to claim any in-state fees. Again, if a person knows about this information, then he can actually time this entire application process in such a way that he gets most benefit out of it. Though I didn't get much of it because they're already now going there to study. If I had known a little before, maybe I would have saved not only money, at the time it was much lower, but also timing wise it would have been probably more appropriate. But for the benefit of the people listening to this podcast, I strongly recommend that you don't wait even for a day, because it really means that you are losing out on a lot of funds that you may probably have saved.
You're right. So let's talk about the boys. You've mentioned a few things. You mentioned that there are tuition breaks. They can apply for financial aid once they become US people, get assistance with tuition, housing, books, transportation, hopefully all costs associated with being a student. Of course, there's in-state tuitions. What other factors in terms of the boys, like, the ability to work or start their own business in the US? They might not have those intentions today, but was that maybe one of the factors that was aiding you to do this program? Or, any other reasons for the boys? Maybe future planning?
Yeah, both my kids, one obviously was interested in the engineering program, and the other guy wanted to go to management. Either way, we were clear that they would go to US to study. And especially me being an Indian, it's much more difficult with respect to green card wait times and all of that. And H1B, I think we all know, the way it is with respect to the wait times. So I think it looked more appropriate for me to look at this EB-5 as perhaps one of the easiest and simple way. Of course, it's not simple, but then you have to go through that process and the timelines. I think if one knows and are clear about the expectations, what they're getting into, I think it probably is the easiest way. In summary, if you ask me.
It is surefire, you're correct. And as you mentioned, H1B is now more of a lottery system, so why leave things to chance? We ultimately ended up filing your application under your wife, and of course you were post-regulation, so you filed at $800,000 post. There were some options given to expedite the process by, for example, having your wife activate in the US straight away. Talk to me about that decision making. You've decided to wait for the approval as opposed to just getting processed in the US straight away. Was it the wait time for your wife to stay in the US for 8 months?
I was very clear since beginning who would be the primary applicant. Since I have got my own business here and then I have to be present, I cannot be away for that wait time, especially when you're on that temporary EB-5 period of 2 years. So I said, okay, it's better I actually let my wife be the primary applicant and my kids being the secondary applicants. And in my case, obviously I have my own interests here, so I said, okay, we'll wait and see with respect to what I would do. But since in this case, my wife was a primary applicant, so she went ahead and we filed the petition.
This is actually great information because you are a business owner here. You're really doing this for the future benefit of the kids. So there could be a scenario where you just decide, I'll let the wife and kids sort of activate and maybe I'll just stay back. You're maybe thinking about that. At the time of approval, you can make that decision, obviously.
Yeah, you're right, actually. That's the reason why I've let my wife be the primary applicant, and they can stay there until all these things are sorted and they are on way to get their permanent green card. In the meantime, I'll be going back and forth.
Of course.
and be with them and get my things going
And then
here.
you always have the option later on in time for, keeping the family together. You can
Yes.
activate at a later time. So it
Exactly,
provides
yeah.
you a lot more flexibility.
Exactly, yeah. I think it
Amazing.
was very clear since beginning, what I wanted to do. What was obviously not clear was the process in terms of all the steps and the way the USCIS works. They have their own timelines and challenges, and thanks to Google, every time you visit Google, you learn a lot of good things and probably more of bad things. So that's where I reached out to you often, calling you, troubling you at all times, challenging you,
Always
whatever
a
you have
pleasure.
told.
Always a pleasure. You made a good note there. There's a lot of information out there in the universe. So EB-5 is a space where a lot of money is concerned. We're talking about maybe $25 billion that has been injected into the US economy through this program. So there's going to be a lot of press and a lot of special interests. People talking about what project is better than the next. There's always some angle. So I think that's maybe a place that we helped you sort of navigate to cut out the noise. Can you talk to us about maybe your first engagement when you came into the office, how we sort of got along, maybe tell everyone about the group chats, anything that sort of gives people a greater picture of maybe what to expect during the servicing timeline?
Yeah, that's a good question. In fact, initially when I started off understanding this EB-5 program, I had lots and lots of doubts, and every time I came to you and got it clarified, it was sort of clear to me what options I have. One thing obviously I would like to say is this EB-5 program actually can be subscribed through a regional center like I have done in my case, or there are other options of investing direct. What I've learned is investing direct has its own challenges, but to me, being away from the US in a place here in the Middle East and not knowing, depending on vague information here and there, I was really concerned, and I think that's where and your team actually being here, meeting in person, interacting in person means a lot. It gives that confidence and comfort. I really don't know whether I would have had the same confidence if I was interacting direct, however good they may have been. So I think you actually fill in a very nice gap that exists, which actually gives comfort to people like me in terms of making sure that their investments don't go, anywhere tomorrow. And whatever doubts that we have are actually cleared by you yourself being lawyers, and you understand the American legal system much better, and it's easy basically to get things sorted this way, I think.
I think you struck sort of a good point there in the fact that, this isn't just like buying off-plan property or signing up for something, that you just merely invest in. You're trusting people with your papers, with the future multi-generational planning of your family. So I think it's normal for our clients to have a little bit of anxiety. This is normal.
Yes.
It shows that you care. So talk to us about maybe when you're interacting with us, the group chats, the in-office meetings, not only just myself, with the remainder of the other lawyers here and the staff. What has been your interactions? Are you getting reports from the project? Do tell us more.
Yeah, it was actually good experience for me after I filed the 526 petition. Obviously, finance is a very important aspect here. I was lucky enough to actually get into a payment plan, of course, with your help in convincing the regional center. And that actually gave me a good opportunity to immediately sign up with one of the interesting projects. And the challenge I had obviously was my son aging out. So the payment plan that was offered enticed me to actually immediately sign up and not wait for the funds to, total funds to be with me. And that really helped a lot. And your own close association with the regional center as well, I think helped in making sure that whatever commitments that I had made in terms of payment plans and milestones were adhered to. And finally, I was glad that I could make all the payment. And right now, I'm just waiting for my update from USCIS.
Is waiting the most difficult part for the application and this whole process? Maybe give us some critical feedback. Maybe you've said such kind things about us. Educate me on where we can improve.
The things actually, this entire EB-5 program is full of uncertainty, in terms of really not knowing how things are progressing. Though I've had multiple meetings with the regional centers here, they came here to your office, and I had a good personal interaction with them in person, and plus also over the emails. I also happened to meet the lawyers, the GT group, and they all kept on updating me in terms of whatever is happening with respect to EB-5. But there could be probably more opportunities to give regular updates, which again, that's a very subjective thing, because this entire EB-5 and the way USCIS works is too uncertain in this case, I would say. So that's the reason why I'm also continuously be on alert for looking for any updates and so on. So when I hear something, when I see something happening, then immediately I reach out to you and your team, Silu, who's been very supportive.
Silu is amazing. She's a rock star.
Yeah. I mean, she herself has a good amount of knowledge in terms of how things to plan out as far as the EB-5 program is concerned. And I think overall, it was a good experience in terms of knowing. I mean, fundamentally, what we need is clarity, and if the clarity is coming forth, then it is comforting. Though you need a little bit of patience in moving forward. So I think that's the way it's been useful to me. So maybe more of updates, and what we're doing is a really an exciting thing which shares us experiences to the newcomers in terms of what to expect.
Don't you wish you had this when you were first starting off?
Of course. I wish.
What are some of the things you wish you knew when you first started looking at this program before filing your application?
Yeah, in terms of clarity and what options we have, going through a regional center, picking up a project, on what basis do you pick up a project? These things initially, I didn't know. First of all, there's a lawyer required in this case. I just thought that regional center is the one who will do everything. But on the back end, there's a lawyer there who is the key person here, who will file the petition on my behalf. So there's a lot of things that you actually will learn in the process. So I think if this can be packaged like a podcast, where people are listening to somebody like me who has gone through that, then it makes a lot of sense and make the audience also be mentally prepared in terms of what to expect and so on.
So the marketing team, you guys heard it. We need to do this more often to help sort of future clients come on board.
Exactly. Yes.
With law firms, consultants, they like to bill by the hour for each communication, each WhatsApp message, each meeting. So at the time that you and I first started, we were very clear that we have a flat fee basis and that you can contact us as much as you wish, and that we have a 24-hour WhatsApp group with myself and the other lawyers in the group. Was that true to you? Were there hidden fees or costs that along the way have maybe surprised you?
I don't think so, because since the beginning I had the clarity in terms of the funding requirements. Again, with respect to chat groups like WhatsApp, that was obviously, no charge basis, and I could get a response from the regional center or anybody from your team whenever I had a doubt or some clarification I had. So I think it was pretty straightforward and simple.
Amazing. So I've been asking all the questions. Aside from timelines, any other questions that you might have for me?
I think in your case, you're already active in the region with regular seminars that you do. I think it would be really interesting if you can also have non-seminar based marketing channels. One of them, of course, is this one, and be more visible to people like me. I mean, when I actually came to know about EB-5, it was so through a text a colleague of mine who he showed me, and that's how I landed up in your office. If I had known little before that, then perhaps I would have, signed up much earlier, um, at a lower cost maybe. At that time, it was $500,000. But then people who signed up at that time, they are in a bigger waiting list because that was pre-RIA. Now, post-RIA, things are much faster. So I don't know, of course, I'm paying more money. But then all I'm saying is that channels besides seminars, I think, would be really, really interesting, and you should be more visible in the market. I think that's what I'm trying to say here.
Amazing. And the marketing team around us, they're all listening. So we will certainly try our best to get the word out, because you're right. I think once people learn about it, then it's a natural progression. You have 1 or 2 kids studying in the US.
Yeah.
To some degree, it's a no-brainer.
In fact, when I spoke with some of my friends in the US who are already citizens, a lot of people, they don't know about this EB-5 program. It's just that H-1B is becoming a big challenge. I think there is more and more awareness happening. It would really be prudent on the behalf of the audience who are interested in looking at this program, move quickly, because we don't know what's going to happen once the current expiry dates materialize, and what will happen next. Will it get renewed? We don't know. So there's a very small window here. I think if you're interested, don't wait, is what my advice is.
You strike a valuable point, and I'm going to end on that note. Jay, thank you so much for coming in. It actually means a lot to us. It's been a pleasure servicing your file, and come in and have a coffee with us again, I hope.
Yeah? Sure, the pleasure is mine. It was really my greatest joy working with your team. All of them are fantastic, and they gave me all the information I want. And I'm now waiting for my EB-5 approval. I hope it comes up soon.
You know what we'll do? We'll do part 2 when the approval comes through.
Yes.
And then all the mixes and surprises at that time.
Yeah.
We'll do a follow-up. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll do a follow-up. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Comment down below if you want. And I look forward to part 2 of this episode.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah.
All right.